Griffin. And is it going to be the summoner spells that we see on screen right now for Lehens? He's currently hovering that Exhaust Ignite. Definitely the more aggressive options that we saw. In fact, Yumi's taking very early on as people were trying to figure her out. It was Exhaust Heal that people went. We're not going to see as much of the Kleptomancy coming out from this Griffin squad. The gold lead isn't going to inherently extend quite as quickly, you have to think. And we'll see whether the range advantage on the bottom side, which is pretty gigantic, despite the Prowling Projectile being so strong, see whether that can actually get them through this early game on KT's side. I have a feeling we're going to have a closer one than we had in game number 1. See whether KT can figure it out. Prowling Projectile once again looking here at level 1, but a good ward goes down from Prey to start this one off. And for those that didn't watch the LEC, Papa Smithy, can you explain what this Pyke Yuumi bottom lane does?
So the big draw of Pyke Yuumi, at least as it stood on 9/11, I'm not 100% clear, I'll assume the interaction is still there, is that when you are in your deep water dive, the W, the Prowling Projectile, because Yuumi is an extension of the AD carry, or in this case, the carry champion, is invisible. So you just get a 80% slow from invisibility, and then Pyke shows up, and then you're screwed.
Yeah,
so that's kind of the big thing that happens there. It's also a style pick. There was a lot of kind of word that the comms for G2 was Pyke top, because it was a Jace and a Pyke answering the Jace, and then it was a Pyke bot, because in solo queue and European solo queue, they had seen the Pyke Yuumi be played. They're like, that's pretty cool, and you know how G2 rolls, right? They have fun when they're out there on the Rift, definitely IG style from previous years. So it's definitely a confidence duo. It's not picked for lane domination. And look at the runes here. Notice that Lehens has got Guardians, so they do find something defensive. It's not summon a spell heal, but it is a Guardian between the duo.
Yeah, buffer block coming in here as another Bone Skewer comes out. Snowplow already down to half health, did get the Aftershock, and that's what keeps him alive, but not for long. Heal comes out eventually, that's going to be first blood at level 1, and I'm getting some really scary deja vu, Papa Smithy, as Prey can't find the last Q.
I don't know what Snowplow was doing, what business he had being that far down the lane and trying to all in, just no experience in this against this duo at all. They continue brawling, is out of position, and Snowflower dies level 1.
Now Viper gets back all of his health as well. Remember the Zoomies comes out from Yuumi as well, so Pyke can go in for whatever trades he wants, and any health that he doesn't regen from his passive, he'll get back from Yuumi eventually.
Oh, just so unfortunate for KT. They needed some confidence, right? They needed a confidence boost after being dominated in game number 1, and that's definitely not the way to do it. Not the first level 1 death we've seen on a support. Mada also was really forced out of lane. 100% clear if he died or not, but certainly took a big loss at level 1. Those Lux level 1 trades, her level 1 way weaker than her level 2, and unfortunately, Snowflower's not playing to it, so we're going to get an extended follow on this lane because it's novelty. You know, 1 game in the pro scene so far. You will notice another little interaction. You think of this lane, you think, ah yes, Relic Shield for the Pyke. But the reason you don't see that is that Relic Shield procs don't work when the Yumi's inside, and that's a lot of the laning phase here. So just like from the side of Perks, we do see Doran's Shield start.
As we have a look towards the top side of the map, remember the Aatrox took a little bit of a hit from the nerf bat in 9-12, but so did the Aurelia to the tune of a very small amount. As far as cooldown, but he missed the undertow, picks up the axe, however, still gets the flash out and lands the second one. Good knockup comes in from Sword. Umbral dash, but now the twin Disciplin's comes in and scores, looking for that kill. Gets the follow-up. First blood goes to Griffin, but Permafrost is here. Score now looking for Sword. This will be a good trade for KT. But every flash on the top side of the map is down.
The first axe going wide actually ended up being consequential because it meant that Smeb opened up more distance towards his jungler. They get the answering kill. Very important to slow down Olaf in a game that Olaf could just decide straight up on his own. Watching the roam already.
Yeah, Prowling Projectile. Bone Skewer's not going to land, though.
You do see that it seems like that invisibility interaction is still there. Lot to think about with these roams, because remember, the Prowling Projectile can be started early before the deep water dash warning indicator is even available on the map.
You can see now they're just trioing in the mid lane, and Bone Skewer is going to pull BDD back, but not quite far enough. That minion wave does get eviscerated.
Now, this is not just a normal quirk of this lane, because you have to think about, well, how did they find a time to roam? They're roaming as a melee champion and a Yuumi duo. How's this happening? That's what happens when the laning god uses both summoners and dies at level 1. The Lux lane presence is going to be way more defensive now. She's so scared about the next Bone Skewer that this is very much the level 1 death spilling into the mid lane and causing problems for BD. Now, top side, Tarzan missing the axe here means that Smeb just lives long. That's the reality. Aiden's stun at the end was also very, very important, but in almost any other gank attempt, Score doesn't get an answering kill here, so it's just important to mention that a little bit was salvaged on the top side.
Yeah, Score at least able to get a couple of permafrosts, and the last one meaning that Score had to flash. Sorry, Sword had to flash to get himself out of the way. Ocean Drake at 5.5 minutes. Pretty good one here for Griffin with almost everyone on the map apart from Sword. More zoomies and more regen.
More lane presence is kind of the most pressing thing that KT will have to deal with. Working towards Tiamat is Viper for that lane control, as you would expect on any sort of carry pipe.
Yep, and Prey is feeling the lack of counterplay to this particular Yuumi and Pyke combo as Viper clears out that last remaining siege minion from that minion wave.
Score himself is camping topside. To be fair, there's very little counterplay to the tethered prowling projectile that you can mouse control. Even standing in minions doesn't work most of the time, so it is very frustrating. My favorite thing to do is to play Yuumi against Sivir and just bait out the spell shield every time, because when do you spell shield? You just twirl it around when you see it.
The cute interaction is when you get the spell shield out and then immediately go to their support, which is what we saw yesterday, which was pretty adorable. The King's Zone series.
Now, playing through the Aurelia versus Aatrox matchup is something I talk about every time, because you can kill that Aatrox, and Aurelia is really strong in the 1v1. That's what we're seeing here. Remember, that interaction does not get revealed. That's the spectator quirk.
Yep, and Score doesn't have the ultimate, which is why they're not going to go aggressive. Smeb comes out of that brush, and Sword's looking to go home.
People think that the Sejuani indicator there is actually revealed to the enemy. It isn't.
No, the passive you can't actually see. We can just see it, though. It's much like when you see Baron being attempted on the spectator client. You see all of those effects going off. The enemy cannot see that one, much like your solo queue games where the Baron just gets taken. You don't see those when you hover over the Baron.
Not always equal, because there are some effects that are actually seen in the Fog of War. If you're actually looking over on that part, there's like Mystic Shot, for example, can be at times. But for now, at least, we zoom in on the laning phase here is Viper, CS for CS. He's got that Tiamat, and if he can shove, no power summoners are up, so there should be less windows for roam, but you want Pyke carry games to descend into chaos. That's what G2 showed to SKT, right? A bad laning phase doesn't matter if the mid game is Pyke resets aplenty. We're not there just yet, but we'll see how Griffin can keep a vision lead and then start to really simulate what Wonder and G2, now most recently Perks, are famous for.
Well, that Bone Skewer was pretty nice underneath that turret. You can see double demolish most likely in this lane as well, as we've got double resolve, meaning that they will have a little bit more of an opportunity. Final chapter coming down, though. They're looking for Snowflower. Flash has to come out. Prey still has his True Shot Barrage avoided there by a great dash out from Viper. And the You and Me comes in from Lehens to keep him well and truly safe. It was a bit of a visit there from Tarzan, but they got the summoner spell they were looking for. Snowflower is now food for Griffin.
They're going to return to him.
Yep, they'll dive on forward. Snowflower in trouble as Viper comes in with the death from below. Does give Yuumi a big old assist with some extra gold. However, it's a 1-for-1 under the turret.
Definitely could have been cleaner. 1-for-1, not ideal given the trade that happens there, but the gold does go to the support. On the top side, looking for the turret dive.
Yep, Sword immediately goes into the ultimate, but there's an ultimate from Score as well. Smeb doesn't find the ult, though. KT will have to leave with the tail between their legs. Chovy. Yeah, that was a bit of a short on the bubble. Just wanted to set up the pool, I guess. Saying Sword's invited to his pool party?
Apparently. Definitely was pretty poor on both sides. Not like Smeb and Score weren't even on the same page. The flash was quite late. It was easy answering flash coming through from Sword. No Merc treads, remember, so it's not like he had the CC reduction for that to be a little bit more trivial. We talked about lane breakdowns, and Moby Boots is done, so Moby Boots Tiamat we should know that running in with the Olaf is a real possibility for the cute cat.
Bone Skewer somehow picks Prey out of a minion wave there as the bottom block brings Lehens forward evermore. KT have to play back in this lane. We mentioned the fact that there was no flash on Snowflower. That's still not there, even though he'd already died for it. That's just going to continue. The bottom lane woes are a huge deal now for KT. And it's just sad to watch, right? Like, it just felt like KT would be feeling so much better now with Prey on this roster.
I think the order of operations is really important, though. Like, getting straight up bopped in a 2v2 and then going to Pike is going to be, with Prey's confidence, kind of visibly shattered, right, from game number 1. So if you're going to do it, I appreciate the timing of it being in a game number 2. Don't have that liberty in the EU, of course. They don't have the best threes to go for the same strategic plays. Here we go. Once again chasing. Prey changes on to Snowflower.
Really cute movement there, but not going to get too much other than Snowflower's W, as well as a little bit of extra poke damage.
Full interaction to speak about here is that Lux is surprisingly tanky, maxing the shield, going after Shock Right, 70-70 resists, plus that extra shielding that does add up. None of that interacts with Death from Below. So if you don't open with the early shield and try to shield yourself late, you die.
Lehens pops out just to make sure that turret aggro doesn't come in. You can see this turret is extraordinarily low. Viper dashes out of the way. Has a whole lot of that grey health that he can eat up as soon as he's out of vision range, and he'll be back at full health by the time they make it back to that lane. Because of those kills that went down, because Prey was out of lane, you could see how many of those turret plates had already gone down. 3. Over to Griffin as KT are looking for Shelly, but Tarzan's in place. Chovy clears out the minion wave, and here comes the bottom lane. The deep water dive heading forward as the prowling projectile lands. B2D immediately with the cleanse. It's a 2-for-1 special on that Sleepy Trouble Bubble as well.
How about a 5-for-5? See that now.
We're going to try and find the ultimate from Score, and he lands it onto Sword. Sword ults, tries to get himself out. Doesn't quite get too much out from Griffin's ultimate from the Yuumi, but otherwise they're still going to start off this fight. That's going to be the Death from Below landing. Only one reset, however, as B2D gets turned on. Emperor's Divide was decent, but the Zoe gets the double kill. Olaf finishes it off as Snowflower, last man standing, and the Lux gets destroyed. It's an 11.5-minute ace for Griffin.
And it's exactly the time we want to start fighting with a Pike comp. They were ready to go. The Olaf gets the Rift Herald, and the rest of it is history. Yuumi gets the actual pickup on it. But even though Griffin don't even get the entire reset bonanza, it's still a complete domination from them. We get to watch the replay onto Sword, and that's the person you want, right? You want to kill Sword before he gets going. Sword or Pike has to die first, but that doesn't happen in this particular fight. They turn on, and when the first kill comes in, you just know what's backing it up, right? That's just the reality of a comp like this. Interestingly, Aatrox doesn't get the passive reset here, so the Bloodwell isn't available for Sword because he wasn't available to get an assist on the first kill during that ult. Doesn't matter. They clean it up, and that means the gold lead. You know what? It's not quite game 1, but it's getting there.
It really is. It's really, really scary. I wasn't ready to have PTSD just yet, you know? I was hoping for maybe a bit of a change. Prey has to use the flash. Already Arcane shifted to try and get out of the way, and now Tarzan's found Snowflower.
Oh, Blast Pack.
Ragnarok not available just yet. Loosen Singularity is in there. Blast Cone is still there, but Snowflower has made it almost over to this turret. He goes golden. But with 3 members here, it's not quite enough. Heal is going to save him from the Death from Below.
Well, definitely tier list-wise, we're going to put Viper Below perks on the 80 carry Pike tier list. Not been on point with these Deaths from Below a couple of times already in this game, so there's something for him to work to.
Did at least land it, but not quite able to get that calculation.
No, it's not that one, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm pretty sure the heal almost saved him. Never mind. B2D, he's going to be able to get himself out of the way. And thankfully, keeps himself alive as well, as the turret is going to be under fire. Griffin looking for more turret plates in the last 20 seconds that they have. Inferno Drake goes down.
I feel like we need a replay to make sure if it was the heal or the actual ult missing. Now I can't decide between the two. What I can decide on is the cat plops down the Rift Herald. The siege from the Zoe is going to belittle the members of KT. Prey tries to walk up, try to answer this. It's after 14 minutes, so at least that calculation is off.
Oh, that bubble was incredible. Lands on a Snowflower as well. Squishy in the backline. Bone Skewer is what procs the extra damage and does a whole lot onto Snowflower there. Meanwhile, the jig is up onto Smeb in the back line. He's looking for Sword, but in goes Viper. Gets the flash, gets the stun. First kill comes down. Now the Pike looking for more. Final spark, not going to be enough. Emperor's Divide is gigantic. Into the back line is now Sword. Has to pick up the mantle of the damage, and damn does he have it. There he goes. Chovy dives underneath the turret to pick it up. And Griffin, they have damage from everywhere. Umbral dash on the back part of the walls, real nice. And the triple kill for Chovy Zoe.
It's still a team wipe for the team of Griffin there, even though the Emperor's Divide looked big, it wasn't enough. Sword rolls in late. Better late than never. We're going to watch the replay. It started so long ago. Somehow we're getting those King Zone Afrika flashbacks in this game. Olaf walks up, and it's already a bit of a story that he feels strong enough to walk up to an Aurelia and try to fight her, but it's because backup is here. Viper rolls in. The first kill comes in, but I was baited when BDD got this connection. I thought there might be a turnaround. Sword put pay to that very quickly.
Certainly did. Didn't find the death from below this time. That was straight up a miss, so shout out to Perks on that one. And the Pike did eventually fall down, but you can see just the amount of damage potential out of the rest of the Griffin members. We were looking at Viper, right, because of last game. We're like, Viper is all the damage. Not this game. We've got Chovy Zoe. We have Sword on this Aatrox that has been accelerated, especially now. Sitting on a 450 gold bounty, 650 for Chovy in the mid lane. This is a story of Viper being flexible with where their power can come from.
So many turret plates picked up, some even left on the ground. KT 1 of 2, I believe 3 actually were missed by Griffin if the calculations there were correct. In my head, 5 turret plates, 800 gold. So if they only got 960, that's less than the number.
Yeah.
Adding them down, but it's at least one in every lane. The items starting to come together. It's 8,000 gold, and they're looking for more kills.
Yep, Prowling Projectile, but Snowflower's going to come in. That's a good shield. Makes sure that Griffin can't go for this 2v2, although they'll still be able to get a whole bunch of poke.
Prowling Projectile hit a minion that time, so for once it was off.
Yeah.
That part I was able to capture. So between the Grey Health and also the Sustain, he's topped up and ready to go and do it again and do it again and do it again. And he's occupying the mid laner here. In the top side as Zoe pushes through mid. And all Smeb can do is show respect. They have no control of their red side jump.
Yep, you can see that Tarzan is down there as well as Bone Skewer is going to hit that Siege minion. BDD notices that 2 of those cooldowns are now off. But Prowling Projectile doesn't have a very long one, Papa, and he's going to take the second one that comes out in that particular exchange.
And has a blue, and that was a blue given to him. He doesn't have a kill, so this is a blue that was just given to him to make him even more annoying.
He's 0-0-12. Papa out of 13 kills Griffin got. This is a pretty good Yumi's performance so far.
There's no one's call sign in MI6 as 0012, so I'm going to guess it's their animal unit.
He's got a license to kill, we're just not sure of his character just yet. You know, 007's James Bond and 009 is going to be Sean Bean, but here we can see a fight towards the top side. BDD able to get a bit of work done. Good flash to get out of the way of the death from below. Snowflower with the shields work. Clutch is now Prey trying to get in here. Sword comes down with the teleport. Prey's getting some damage through, and you can see the value of these shields is very high. Redemption comes in. That's going to be one that Chovy had. His score's now trying to turn this on Chovy. There's a lot of dollar signs coming up in his mind as Prey's going to be the sacrificial lamb. KT were routed, but it could have been way worse than that.
Lambs the slaughter. It felt like everyone running like headless chicken. There's nowhere to go except away, but so many people coming down to intercept them that someone had to die. Griffin continue to push. They continue to flex, and the 10,000 gold lead. We're knocking on that door, Atlas.
Once again, we're 300 gold out. I mean, may as well just say 10,000 gold at this point. You know me, in my rounding, I'd be saying 10,000 because I can see a 27 and a 37 at the top of the screen. Let's have a look at where some of that gold came from in this exchange in the replay.
You walk up enough times to an Azir and you expect to turn. It's an answer to the final chapter, and that part of it is successful. The hands unleashing to that to end, but as the fight goes on, you'll notice between the Yumis, E, and also just the Grey Health, the Viper can keep going, he can keep going, and the comeback, or at least the help here is going to be real because Aurelia has no teleport to answer, so it's always going to be outnumbered with a gold lead for Griffin.
Yeah, Tarzan was actually going to give that kill away, but decided in the end that he just wants to get that reckless swing in and take the kill for himself. Feels like Griffin do have the luxury of deciding who gets to kill the members of KT and when. It is some really scary stuff. There's again, just a pretty disgusting goal difference between these two teams. As Tarzan, as far as his lead in the jungle is concerned, is almost 2,000 in 19 minutes.
Compared to game one, I agree with you, Alex. It's kind of a raffle for the kills this game. Rather than Ezreal getting all of them, this is very much a, well, whoever's there, whoever's best dressed, picks it up. So
just call it, you know.
And there's just situation. And you just know what kind of a game this is when Pyke has a CS lead over Ezreal, despite, of course, the laning phases being very much different, melee versus ranged. They have CS leads in every single role, even support. Obviously not a big one, but something that's happening here. The map control lead is insane, the 10,000 gold lead, and it's 4 kills short of a perfect game so far for Griffin. And the fact that they're playing kind of this new age, super proactive style and making things work, making chaos happen with this Pyke bot lane, and they've only given over 4 kills, like, you're always going to take losses when you're looking for as many kills as Griffin are. It's almost impossible to have kind of 20 kills in 20 minutes, enemy have 0. Yeah. But they've all been in scenarios where Griffin was only ever going to trade way up.
And they got 2 full aces against KT, so you can lose a couple of members in that scenario because you get so much map control with whoever's left over. On Griffin's side, now with Baron spawning on the map, they've got a couple of Ocean Drakes. They can start it if they feel like it. Ping's coming down from KT. They fear the possibility of a Griffin Baron, even if Lehens and Viper are on the bottom side of the map.
Baron speed not fantastic, but something like Aatrox and Olaf would probably be able to roll it down bot side.
Yeah, final chapter comes in. That's going to be the stun out of Viper as well. Death from below is all too easy. Looking academic on this map for Griffin as they'll take down the inner turret. Pressure mounting around the map as inners in every lane are getting brutalized.
LCK fans everywhere getting flashbacks of a bad time, of a dark time, of a loss to G2 and a elimination from MSI 2019. But this is Griffin, who have that friendship with G2 Esports. There's been some tweets between Carlos and the Griffin faithful. They were no doubt watching.
Yeah, went and visited, of course, when they were here in Korea.
This is some real inspiration stuff, and the inspiration may not match the G2 execution, but it's still deadly, deadly effective. Speaking of effective, Baron's low.
Yep, BDD had to run past the kiddie pool. The Baron does fall down. Sword, nice knock up. In fact, BDD is just getting booped around in this fight. The Emperor's Divide is there. BDD surviving for a long time, but Sword eventually grabs it. That's going to be the reset as well. Look at the gigantic damage of this Griffin squad. It's going to be their 3rd ace of the game. The Umbral Dash coming in from Sword. Doesn't have another one as Sword gets behind the wall, but he knows what his fate is. Another ace, no kills for KT. Teleports abound, and Griffin will break the base here, if not more.
Sometimes you have to accept your mortality, and Scorer at the end was the one who was there. They take down Baron. It's a 3-man unit. They turn onto BD. He goes the right direction to try to escape, to try to disengage Aatrox for as long as possible. But the moment he dies, you know there's a world of hurt to be inflicted on, and Tarzan just diving in, Chovy backing him up to kill Prey. Not a great day for Prey, not a great day for KT, and Score says goodbye, full world.
Yeah, another death from below after the reset. And Griffin now circling. They are certainly worse than sharks in the water right now. We're Australians, we know all about sharks and how scary they can be. I would prefer to be swimming amongst them than Griffin right now.
Griffin's blazing a trail. They're trying to blaze a trail for the LCK. They're trying to herald a new era. That's what Griffin have always been attributed to kind of different degrees of accuracy. I don't think they were the explosive, aggressive team in 2018 that they were built up to be, but they definitely had flashes of that.
Yeah.
And this year, alongside Kingzone and Afrika, you can see that Griffin are right now cut from the same cloth. Looking over at some damage, that was 400 AP.
470.
Well, I mean, there's going to be more soon. He's got a Magi, it's a very standard pickup.
Yeah, very standard. Also a needlessly large rod. It's going to be Lehens with maybe a Spellbinder for an epic amount of damage as Chovy's doing some exercise in this.
And we have to bring it up again. Lehens is the guy people copied when they were trying to understand what made Yuumi strong. His build, his runes, his approach. This time he rolls in Ignite. He's dropped that heal, and you know what? Feels like, unfortunately, the heat's only being ratcheted up for KT Rolster. They've had a pretty decent start to the season, but, you know, clearly not going to be suddenly a contender with Prey coming in, but this is the sort of loss where you watch on with great interest their second game of this week. They attempt to answer a loss like this.
Yeah, and if you're copying Lehens and his Yuumi build, probably stop after he was super far ahead, because now the needlessly large rods and Magi is not necessarily core items as you get towards the mid-game, unless you're sitting at 0-0-18 like he is. Griffin will get rid of the last two remaining inhibitors, and now they're circling once again. This Nexus is... If I was that Nexus, I'd be real scared. If something going wrong, his score is going to go wide on the ultimate. Final chapter does come in. Smeth's looking for his fountain, but the Nexus turrets are going to fall. The You and Me gets Lehens out of trouble. He is just dancing around KT so beautifully, and the Nexus is going to fall before any member of KT even goes down. Griffin with utter demolition of the KT Rolster roster, much like what they did to Hanwha Life.
And I love that you bring out the Hanwha Life victory, because we were reaching for words there that were broadcast appropriate. We used all of those on that day, and right now you find considered, but just given how much Griffin is on, they're no longer a rookie team. They're 1 year in. Summer last year was one story. Summer this year, maybe finally, the seasoning is there for the talent to finally push through and grab the trophy that seemed destined to eventually be with Griffin.
And we get a tantalizing preview as well. Rift Rivals is coming in. We'll be able to see Griffin against some of the international talent from the LMS region, as well as Vietnam and China. So exciting to see them at least on the international stage, even if it isn't everyone.
The only one that's scheduled when it comes to LCK LPL is kind of like versus like, i.e. 1v1, 2v2. JDG are in very poor form, and obviously Griffin now come in red-hot favorites in that match. When it comes to the best of 5, we do hope we get LCK versus LPL in a best of 5 at some point in that tournament. Any Griffin matchup there is so interesting, and now you get greedy, and you ask the question of, what if we get to that game 5 again, where it felt like every Korean team was scared to come in against RNG in the final game? Who's coming in for Korea if we get to a game 5 again? Who's holding up their hands? Because if it's this Griffin form and they don't put up their hands, you start to wonder why.
Yeah, I mean, Kingzone might be performing well at that stage, but that's a very interesting question, Papa Smithy, and I don't want to answer it from a SKT perspective. I do want to say that Griffin certainly, after this performance, if I was to make that decision for a game that's happening tomorrow, I would definitely say Griffin.
The one against Hanwha Life was easy to completely leave to one side. Against KT, who probably going to end up kind of middle bottom of the table, kind of feels like they're a 5-7 team at the moment. Again, you look at this, you say, all right, it's 2, and again, it's an impressive performance. How much further and how much more consistently can they pay this level of performance forward? Griffin's next game this week is one that right now could not look any scarier for SKT fans. They face SK Telkom T1 on a losing streak, and
that's on Saturday, guys.
I mean, that's the sort of game. You remember the game that really kind of capped off SKT's 2018, and that was Kingzone Dragon X coming in and BDD having 1,000 kills in the first 5 minutes against Pyrian's Orianna. That suddenly now is the game where you're really hoping to see SKT's fortunes change. Because if SKT don't show a very elevated performance, they'll just be the latest plate on the all-you-can-eat buffet for Griffin.
Griffin just going to lap up that 160 gold, you could imagine. And it's just so weird that we live in a world where Griffin were just recently, what feels like recently, 3-0'd by SKT in that spring final. Very different moment, but Saturday still needs to roll around. This is Hanwha and KT, it's not SKT just yet, despite there being certainly some worries in the SKT camp. This was, once again, an incredibly dominant Griffin victory. This time around, it's Chovy picking up the majority of the damage.
It's the same scale.
Yeah.
How do we get 20,000 scales back to back?
I would just love that the graphics guy didn't need to change that number at all as well. That's pretty cool stuff.
They flipped it upside down, kind of like the frown for Griffin. After 3 games. After 3 series, they were 2-1, but we were like, you weren't playing very well on those 2-1s.
Nope. I wasn't convinced by Griffin at all. They were
lost
up
a game
the
to
top.
Jin Air.
Yeah, they did. I mean, a lot of teams have lost a game to Jin Air, but most recently, it was, in fact, Damwon Gaming and
lost a game to a Freaka, sorry, but that was a Freaka way out of form.
Yes.
And so it feels different than now, right? Lehens, 0019.
Yeah. There are a lot of secret agents apparently at MI6. That's all I'm saying.
Well, even the bench secret agents seem pretty strong. 0019, probably not the prime number. I'm not sure if you retire with your number. 007 probably gets
Well,
to
the fact
retire
that
with
007 is the most famous one means that I think the numbers are relevant. Let's be real. Maybe 0019 is the coolest one. As you can see, in this game, he certainly was.
And with Ignite, didn't steal any kills.
No.
Now, it is Pike, so it's pretty hard to steal kills from Pike. But, yeah,
He
that
did get
series
full
happened.
value for a lot of kills, having a Pike next to him as well, which is why he had so much money. It was just a very, very fast series, and we're already up to the MVP interview, so let's throw it over to Jason.
선수 리엔즈 선수 모실게요.
Thank you very much,
안녕하세요.
guys. This is Jason with today's interview translation, and we're going to be hearing from Viper Lians from Griffin, climbing up to the first place.
바텀이었죠. 바이퍼 선수의 활약도 대단했는데
Bot lane was the key of Griffin today, so how was today's game?
오랜만에 경기에서
Well, it has been a while since we played in LCK. We had a bit of a break, so it feels really nice to pick up a win.
유미를 정말 잘 활용하는 팀이 그리핀인데
Yumi
이건
was
리엔즈
awesome on your
선수 공이라고 해도 될
side.
것 같아요. 리엔즈 선수가 생각하실 때 본인의 유미는 어떤 점이
How do you
다르다고
rate your
생각하시나요?
Yumi
저는
by yourself?
잘릴 때 가장 잘하는 챔피언.
I'm trying to play champions that are good at not getting cut out. And Yumi, her biggest strength is not getting cut out. So, well, if I don't get cut out, it's easier for my players to win. So with Viper, I'm really confident with this pick.
오늘은 리엔즈 선수 말
The
좀 많이
Viper.
해볼까요?
인정합니다.
Is Lian's okay to talk a lot? Yes, I agree.
알겠습니다. 자, 1세트는
game
이즈와의 조합이
number
굉장히
one.
환상적이었어요. 경기 마지막쯤에 KT가 정말
In
잘
the end
밀고
of the game,
들어왔었는데
KT actually opened a very good fight. However, Griffin was already in a big lead. So, how was that team fight overall?
이때 싸움이 났길래.
Well, we had a team fight over there, so I was like rushing down. But they went all in to me, so I thought it was a little bit very dangerous, but we kind of
리엔즈 선수가
did well, and we were able to pick up a win over there.
전부 정리를 하는 상황이었습니다. 도전할 때 자신감이 있었나요?
So were you confident in that fight?
저는 항상 자신감이 있고.
I'm always confident,
이길 줄
so
알았어요.
I knew that we were gonna win.
네, 역시 바텀 듀오의 조합 환상적이었습니다.
Fantastic
흐뭇하게
teamwork from
끄덕끄덕
your
해주셨고요.
bot
자,
laners.
이제 이즈가 트리플까지
And
내면서
Ezreal
경기를
pick up a
정리했고요.
triple kill
그리고
and
이
end up the
세트는
game in number
파이크와
one.
유미의 조합을
Game number
선택을
2 is
하셨는데
Pike and
팬
Yumi.
리그에서 화제가 됐던 픽이에요.
It was actually once in other leagues, so did you guys prepare in advance?
그냥 사실 유미를 잡았을
I just-
때부터 하고 싶었는데.
Well, just as we locked in Yumi,
네, 서포터 나오니까
I really wanted to play Pike,
그때 하고
so we were waiting for them to finish their bot composition.
네, 바이퍼 선수의 여러 가지 원딜 또
The
비원딜로
Viper,
잉여의
you
조합을
are
많이
good at
선택을
both
하시는데
AD carries and non-AD carries.
파이크, 첼코에서는
Ezreal,
블라디와의 조합이
Silver,
있었어요.
Lucian, Pike, so there are a lot of competition available with Yumi, so what's your favorite?
파이크가 제일 재밌는 것 같아요.
We actually tried with Vlad as well, but I think Pike Yumi is the best.
속도감이
예. 이게 원딜은 좀
Well,
느린데.
it's really slow to play with AD carry champions, but it's really fast to play with Yumi and Pike.
리엔즈 선수는
What about you, Lihan? As a player for Yumi, what's your favorite composition?
저는 웬만하면 제가 유미하면 되게 좋아해서
Well,
네,
I like every
베인만 안
situation
하면
that I get to play Yumi,
베인을 너무
so
좋아해서
except
바이퍼
Vayne,
웬만 안 했으면 좋겠어요.
because Viper actually prefers Vayne a lot, so except Vayne, I'm always
베인은
happy.
조금 꺼내기 어려울 것 같은 느낌이 듭니다. 자, 리엔즈 선수가 현재
리한.
3전 전승 유미에게
Your Yumi is on 3-0.
점을 안겨주고 계십니다. 다음 경기가 SKT인데요.
And your next
팬분들이
opponent
가장
will be
기대하는
SK
경기일
Telecom.
듯해요.
Huge hype going
유미가 혹시
around.
또 나올 수도 있을까요?
Are we gonna see
네,
another
유미하면
Yumi?
절대 안 잘리기 때문에
Yes,
그냥
I
유미를
never
항상
get cut out on
전화하고
Yumi, so I guess I'm gonna play Yumi.
가슴속에 아주 오랫동안 담아두셨던 것 같습니다. 오늘 MVP 정말
Congratulations
축하드리고요.
once again on your
바이퍼
MVP
선수는
and
이제
Viper.
SKT와의 경기 어떤 식으로 임하실
How are we
건지
gonna prepare the
가보도록 할게요.
SKT series?
네. SKT 경기도 오늘처럼
Just as today, I'm gonna do my best to pick up a win.
인터뷰 감사합니다, 여러분. 두 분 이 자리에 함께 모시기를
We
오랫동안
have
기다렸습니다.
waited for a long time to see the entire bot duo on the MVP interview stage, and thank you very much for this interview.
네, 오늘 인터뷰 감사하고요. 고생 많으셨습니다. 축하드립니다.
Thanks very much,
Griffin,
Ji-sun,
리엔즈
for the
선수,
interview
바이퍼
translation.
선수였습니다.
Great to hear from bottom lane of Griffin as well. Understated as usual, despite what they did on Summoner's Rift being as far to the opposite of that as you can get.
What a series. Words kind of fail you after a series like that, and just the fact that it's happened again, the deja vu, but also what that deja vu kind of suggests is crazy, because we've had Kingzone up there. I think Griffin, it's so hard to equate, right, when it comes to head-to-head, but yeah, Griffin look like a team I would like to avoid.
Absolutely, and equal first with Kingzone at the moment. So a Griffin in spring season would have been outright first at this stage, but not to be the case just yet, having fallen already. But I don't know whether Griffin's performance and Kingzone's performance can even be compared, because Kingzone took about 40 minutes each game to take down Jin Air Green Wings, and Griffin just dismantled KT Rolster in what feels like 10 minutes, and now we've got about an hour and a half until our next series.
And our next series should be a lot more competitive, also will probably be a lot slower. It's Gen G versus Hanwha Life. Hanwha Life have actually in their wins looked good, and in their losses have looked kind of shaky, so I really don't know what kind of series to expect, and especially what kind of Hanwha Life.
Yeah, and also what kind of 9.12 picks we're going to get, because Peanut might be on the Zac. We might have Karmas in every single lane when it comes to Gen G. You'll have to find out in quite a bit of time, guys, when the LCK returns.